Hello and welcome back to the channel. As you can see by my previous video, I'm a little obsessed with Mario Kart World right now. One of the aspects of the game I didn't focus on was the Grand Prix mode. I have a love-hate relationship with this game's Grand Prix mode. I originally hated the way that they reinvented this mode that had largely not been changed in the almost 30-year history of the franchise, but the more that I play it, I don't actually mind it. I think the current approach is fun in short bursts. The only thing that I wish we got to do was a traditional 3 laps of each track after the intermission. I think this would make intermissions less annoying since we get a regular amount of laps. But what if Mario Kart World had traditional Grand Prix? Luckily for us, there are exactly 16 new courses, not including variants. However, that only means that we have 14 retro courses, so we're going to have to make some creative liberties to make this work. I've tried to arrange these the best that I can, and now I'm going to step you through all of the new reworked cups for Mario Kart World. First, we have the Mushroom Cup, which will stay the same. Mario Bros. Circuit is the obvious starting track. I don't think there would be any other suitable candidate to replace it as the first track. Moving to Crown City, we have an interesting question I need to address. How do we deal with variants? Crown City has 3 variants: the rooftop section, the beachside section, and the port section. This makes it difficult to choose how to exactly approach Crown City. The variant used when coming from Mario Bros. Circuit is the rooftop section, but I'm going to say that once we get to Crown City in this rework, you will complete the regular 3-lap track, except you do the rooftop section first before the downtown section. Following Crown City, you go to Whistle Stop Summit, like normal, then to DK Spaceport. This would be a course where you don't do multiple laps, as the route allows you to complete the entire course in one. That cup was simple, but how do we approach the rest? After much deliberation, here's what our new Flower Cup looks like. We start at Salty Speedway. The one aspect of World missing in the first cup was the water riding mechanic, and Salty Speedway is the best introduction to that in my opinion. We then go to Cheap Falls, which tests your water skills even further. Then to Faraway Oasis. Unfortunately, we won't be able to play the waterfall section on this route, but we're going to have to make a lot of compromises to make this work. After Faraway Oasis, you make your way to the Great Question Mark Block Ruins, on one of the most cinematic sections not used on the traditional courses. Block Ruins is a great finish to the cup as it's one of the most grand courses in the game, and it also has the best shortcut in the game, that I constantly fail every f***ing time I try to do it. Anyway, let's move on to the Star Cup. We start at Starview Peak, which actually retains its spot in the Star Cup, this time being the opening track, which feels right to me. We then move on to Boo Cinema, one of my absolute favourite courses in the game, then we make our way on a long intermission to Dry Bones Burnout, and then we finish off the cup at Bowser's Castle. This will be the first time that Bowser's Castle wasn't in the Special Cup since, well, I guess Mario Kart World, but before then it hasn't been since Mario Kart 64, and I think that's pretty neat. Then we hit the Special Cup. We again keep the opener with Acorn Heights as the first course of the cup. We then move on to Dandelion Depths, but then we hit one of the roadblocks in this exercise. I want to move to Peach Stadium after this, but there's currently no connection. Any other way I reorganize it, there is no nicer way to arrange these cups without having a missed connection. So let's botch this shit. We're going to use the connection between Dandelion Depths to Moo Moo Meadows, then from Moo Moo Meadows to Peach Stadium. It's a decent route, and look, you can see the castle. It's beautiful, it's perfect. And then after Peach Stadium, we then go to Rainbow Road to wrap up the cup and all of the Nitro Cups. Overall, I think these Nitro Cups work decently. Obviously, there are some courses that I think should be in other places. For instance, Cheap Falls feels way too hard to be a Flower Cup stage. I would personally put it in the Special Cup, but with the way that the map is laid out, there's nothing much I can do. I'm just happy that we get to keep a lot of good courses in perfect spots, such as the transition between Peach Stadium and Rainbow Road, and also having a Bowser's Castle pretty late into the game. Moving on to the retros, this exercise gets a whole lot more difficult. This is because we only have 14 courses to work with. There are 2 ways that we can approach this. We either use existing courses or propose new courses. The main bulk of this exercise is going to be me proposing some new stages, because I think it would be more interesting. Let's start at the Shell Cup, Mario Circuit. I figure it would be a fitting start to the retro courses, and honestly, I felt like it needed to be at the start of any cup because it's quite an awkward one to come off after an intermission. Then we go to Moo Moo Meadows, then Choco Mountain, and finally Toad's Factory. Pretty simple cup, and honestly kinda boring. So let's move on to the Banana Cup. This general region has an almost perfect amount of icy tracks. Then we have Peach Beach. I really struggled to work out in which order we go, but let's start with Peach Beach itself. It had to be at the start or the end, and it would be kinda lame to finish on it. Then we move on to Warrior Shipyard, which honestly I wish was at the end of a cup, but there's not a great way that I can pull off my concept without having to sacrifice this course. We then go towards maybe the biggest glow up of all of the retros, Sky High Sundae, and then we finish off at DK Pass. It's a bit of a strange cup, but I think it works overall. We move on to the Leaf Cup, or should I say the Flower Cup, because we essentially copy-pasted what the Flower Cup had already done. So this means Desert Hills to Shy Guy Bazaar. Actually, let's hold on Shy Guy Bazaar for a second, because unbeknownst to most people, Shy Guy Bazaar isn't just one course, it's two. There is a secret course around Daisy's Palace that you can only get from certain routes Shy Guy Bazaar. It's unfortunate you have to pick an intermission to play it. This is why I want to incorporate it into this concept. I'm basically going to rework Shy Guy Bazaar to be more akin to how we deal with Crown City. The first section would be the original track, but then as we enter the area for lap 2, you would take a left and take the Daisy Palace route. After you get to the Daisy Palace route, you would loop back around to the entrance and then join back the original Shy Guy Bazaar. I think it's a little bit clunky, but it would be really fun, and ultimately I think it would be a great celebration of the fact that Nintendo was able to make two distinct courses out of Shy Guy Bazaar. After Shy Guy Bazaar, we'll go to Wario Stadium and then Airship Fortress like usual. You may have noticed that I haven't added the 2 extra courses yet, and this is where they'll be, the Lightning Cup. Mario Kart World had a course for every game except 2, those being Mario Kart Super Circuit and Mario Kart 8. And Sky High Sundae does not count as a Mario Kart 8 course. That was a tour course that was ported into Mario Kart 8 in its Booster Course Pass. It does not count! So I felt that it would be fitting that since I have 2 tracks, I add 1 track from each of them. The first one would actually start the cup, being Thwomp Ruins from Mario Kart 8. It would be near the Great Question Mark Block Ruins around this area, which does mean that it would have to be reworked. I know it's another beginner course, but as I mentioned in the previous video, I'd love to explore this location and see what the Thwomp area could look like. I would love to walk the Thwomp Ruins. Then we move on to Dino Dino Jungle. Then everybody's favorite course, Koopa Troopa Beach. Then finally, I'm going to bring a modern tradition back and add a retro Rainbow Road. Now I think it would be a little bit awkward considering none of the retros actually have prefixes, so I just add back the prefixes. I think it would be a really cool contrast to see the new Rainbow Road and an older Rainbow Road. A Rainbow Road which could actually benefit from all of the wall grinding mechanics, considering one of the biggest things about Super Circuit's Rainbow Road was the fact that it had bumpers that you could jump off and do crazy shortcuts with. Anyway, that wraps up the retro courses. I definitely think this is a little bit more difficult to do. Unfortunately, you've got courses like Koopa Troopa Beach in the Lightning Cup, which feels like blasphemy. It seems like Mario Kart World has a lot of easy courses for their retros. Most of these courses come from the Mushroom and the Flower Cup. I don't think it works amazingly, but it works well enough. Let me know in the comments. Does this look cool? Which courses would you have picked? Would you have not picked? Anyway, that's all I have to say, so thanks for watching. Bye!